Hello guys, welcome to Captain Dorja's Armory. This is Captain Dorja. It has been a long time. The last thing I put up on my channel was I uploaded it on Halloween last year, so it's been almost 10 months since I uploaded anything. It was that WZ111 battle in World of Tanks, and in the last 10 months I was going to say some pretty cool things have happened, but that's not really that true. Some things have happened, some things have changed. I'm going to give a quick breakdown of what's going on, and then we're going to take a look at some of this. Now, if you're here right now, you can see the number one biggest thing that's changed is World of Warships. World of Warships is finally a thing. I've been waiting for World of Warships forever, basically. I love tanks, but I've always been, I love tanks, like, a lot, but I've always been really into ships. I've always been really into navies. I wanted to join the United States Navy for a long time, but couldn't. And right now I work as a merchant mariner, although I am also considering trying to get a new job because it turns out I hate being a merchant mariner. But yeah, biggest change is World of Warships is now a thing, and I've been playing a lot of it. Some other things, War Thunder, I'm not playing War Thunder at all anymore. War Thunder had been on the back burner for a while, really, but I'm freaking done with War Thunder. That game is terribly mismanaged, in my opinion. I think Gaijin are just running a great game straight into the crapper. I would rather play EVE Online than War Thunder, and there's a reason why I quit EVE Online 4 years ago and haven't looked back. But at least I left EVE Online with good feelings. I left War Thunder with terrible feelings. Literally everything I loved had been ruined. World of Tanks, I would say that I've basically quit playing World of Tanks, but I don't know if I want to be like that dramatic about it. I guess I just, it's kind of been time to move on. I started playing World of Tanks almost 6 years ago. I played World of Tanks excessively for like 5 years, and I had a lot of fun doing it. I got to do a lot of different things in World of Tanks. I've played a hell of a lot of games solo. I've platooned up with some really good dudes. I've done clan wars in 2 different clans, both as like the beginner clan, just trying to make our way in clan wars. And I've done serious clan wars with a good clan when I was with Jaguars. I mean, it's not like Jaguars was a top clan, like freaking like Relic or something, but they were good, they were good. They were a real clan, And I was definitely the worst person in that clan who played clan wars with any regularity. And of course, the last thing I was doing in World of Tanks was joining up with the Quickie Baby Special Forces on the North American server, and I had a great time playing with QSFNA. A lot of really good guys over there. If you're into World of Tanks and you want a clan of good players to play with who are just kind of good-natured and easygoing, basically just a really awesome social clan, check out QSFNA. It was a great time. But like I said, I'm basically done with World of Tanks. I'm totally done with War Thunder. Like, War Thunder could fall off a cliff into my backyard and I'd go piss on it. But World of Warships is nicely filling the void, and so I think I'm gonna start doing some World of Warships. I just kind of want to mention, like, if I do the YouTube thing, I'm doing it purely for my own recreation. So 10 months ago, I was kind of frustrated with World of Tanks. I was kind of frustrated with War Thunder, and it was making it not fun to want to do YouTube, so I stopped. But now, like, I'm loving World of Warships. Like, the fun is real. So I'm gonna try and get back on the horse a little bit with this and do some cool stuff. So I already have a couple of things in mind for this channel with World of Warships content, and the first thing that I want to do right now is I just kind of want to talk a little bit about this game. get a couple of basic things covered, and then we'll look at some battles that I've got. I've already got two awesome ones just from yesterday. The first thing I want to look at is I want to quickly look at some of the nations and some of the different ships. Now, disclaimer applies, just like in World of Tanks, where I was a tank collector. I had like 117 tanks. I had like 40 premiums. World of Warships, same deal. I'm a boat collector, not to the same extent because I don't have the credits. I don't have the credits yet. It's too early for me to be saving everything. But rest assured, my time will come. So I'm just gonna pop into the tech tree and look at some of the different ships here. There's only two nations in World of Tanks, I'm gonna say World of Tanks a lot. There's only two nations right now in World of Warships. I know we've got a nice little USSR flag here, but that doesn't really count. We've got the Imperial Japanese Navy, aka the IJN. I'll probably refer to the Japanese Navy a lot as either just the Japs, not because it's racial, but because it's shorter, or the IJN. Same thing. IJN's a lot easier to say and a lot quicker than Imperial Japanese Navy. The other force we have is the U.S. Navy, and I'll probably either just refer to them as the U.S., the USN. I might even just refer to them as the Navy because I'm from the United States. So if you say Navy, you're talking U.S. Navy. We also, like I said, we have the USSR, but they're not really a tech tree yet. They just have a couple of premium ships. Additionally, there's one British ship in the game, HMS Warspite. Amazing ship in real life, one of the most spectacular battleships. This thing just has, like, the freaking HMS Warspite's got more history than the entire United States of America, pretty much. And I love the United States and U.S. history. So, yeah, the Warspite, badass boat. But anyway, we really only have two nations. There are some German ships scheduled to be released, they said in October. But right now, that's pretty much all you got. You get the U.S. Navy and you get the Imperial Japanese Navy. Quick look down some of the ships in the tech tree. One thing that I know some people are disappointed about is a lot of their favorite ships are not in the tech tree yet. These are not full tech trees. They are basically like minimum level tech trees. And the other thing is we do know that Wargaming are planning to take some of the very, very famous ships and put them in as premiums. A great example of that would be the planned German ships. Two of the planned German ships are the battleships Bismarck and Tirpitz. The Tirpitz is going to be a premium. The Bismarck is going to be in the tech tree. Along the same line, like there with that one British ship, the Warspite. The Warspite is the most famous British battleship of all time, maybe excepting the Hood, which isn't really a battleship, but the Warspite is a premium. It's a Queen Elizabeth class. There's almost definitely going to be Queen Elizabeth class battleships in the British tech tree when that comes out, but the Warspite's in as a premium. So if you look at this American tech tree, you'll notice there are some pretty neat ships on here already. We've got some of the absolute highlights of World War II, some of the most famous ships, the Lexington class carrier at tier 8, the Essex class carrier at tier 9. Those ships are, freaking legends. We've got some pretty good things in the battleship line too. We've got the New York class battleship at tier 5. The USS Texas is very, very famous. We've also got the North Carolina at tier 8 and the Iowa at tier 9. And then at tier 10 we have the Montana class, which none of the Montanas ever finished being built, but they basically would have been a super Iowa. It would have been really cool. Some things you will notice that are not in the tech tree in those two lines, carriers and battleships. There's no Yorktown class. Now that made a lot of people sad. A lot of people expected the Yorktown to be something like a tier 8 or a tier 9, and the Essex would be tier 10. I'm guessing what's going to happen is I think what they'll end up doing, this is pure conjecture, is they'll probably end up having two carrier lines with things like the Bogue and the Independence, which were light carriers in their own line, and then they'll have fleet carriers with stuff like the Lexington, the Essex, and the Midway, and then the Yorktown class would come in there, and it's already very speculated that Wargaming is going to make the Enterprise a premium. Anyway, on to other stuff. Other things we have in the game, There's a couple of highlights. The USS Omaha, one of America's earliest modern cruisers, was actually obsolete by the time it was built, but whatever. She's in there at Tier 5. Great ship in the game. The Cleveland class, the most numerous class of cruiser ever built. We built 29 and planned 53. The Pensacola class, these were Washington Naval Treaty class, or Washington Naval Treaty cruisers, called Treaty cruisers for short. My buddy John, who I play this game with a lot, he loves the Pensacola. The USS Salt Lake City is like one of his favorite ships ever, and that's the Pensacola class. So he likes that sucker. She fought a lot in the Aleutian campaigns, so that thing's pretty cool. We've also got this thing, the Des Moines class heavy cruiser. Thing is freaking ridiculous. It's got auto loading 8-inch guns. It can fire 90 shells per minute. It's crazy. Over in the destroyer line, a lot of these destroyers aren't really very famous, but we do have the big daddy of all American destroyers, the Fletcher class at Tier 9. That thing, I was playing it on the test server. Holy crap, it's freaking cool. And then in the Japanese line, we have some pretty cool ships as well. We have a bunch of the Japanese carriers, and again, some of the ones that are really famous aren't in here. Although I don't know the classes of these ships very well, and I really don't know the ships of the Japanese Navy very well in general. So I'm a little bit more weak on some of this, but we do have like the Ryujo and some of their earlier like lighter carriers like the Zuiho. We also have the Hiryu, which was famous for having the island on the left-hand side. A lot of pilots crashed into it. The Shikaku, but there's no like Kaga or Akagi or anything like that. They do have the Taiho at Tier 9. This thing gets sunk, I think, by one torpedo and bad damage control, so that's pretty funny. Totally hilarious. Obviously, for battleships in the Japanese line, if it don't mean a thing if it ain't got that Yamato swing. So the Yamato is definitely the Tier 10 Japanese battleship. Some other cool ships we have in the Japanese line, we have the Congo class at Tier 5. These things were basically a modified Lion class battlecruiser, but they were really good in World of Warships. We also, anybody from Battle Stations Midway days, the Fuso class. Remember that mission, Strike on the Monster, where you drive the Fuso and it's got the 14-inch guns? 12 of them and 6 turrets. That thing's freaking cool. You got the Nagato class, the Amagi, which was like a super battlecruiser kind of design that never got built, and this weird thing, the Izumo. I don't know jack about that. Some of the cruisers they have, the only one I really recognize in the cruiser line is the Mogami, because I'm a plebe, like I said, with the Japanese ships. But the Mogami is a really good ship in World of Warships, but I have this book called Worst Warship Designs Ever, or something like that, and the Mogami as a ship design was not as successful as it could have been. In the destroyer line, kind of the big daddy of the Japanese destroyers, the Fubuki, these things were really good. Then, we've got a couple of premium ships, but that's pretty much almost everything I really wanted to talk about in this. Just give it like a quick little couple of hints here about what's going on. A couple other things I'll mention, I guess. Like I said, I'm collecting all the boats, so I've already got a pretty good stable here. I'll just run through all the ships that I have at this point, I guess. I've got the Warspite. This is the only British ship in the game. It's a Tier 6 battleship. It is quite good, in my opinion. It's a Queen Elizabeth class with substantial upgrades during the 30s. So it's a World War I vintage, but it's modernized to a pretty high standard. And she's good. She's got 8 15-inch guns. The range on them's not amazing, but they're accurate and they hit hard. When you hit a guy with the Warspite, he knows about it. Down here at Tier 2, we have the USS Albany. This is a premium ship. It was given to everybody as a gift, basically, a little while ago. It's not very good, but it's not awful. In World of Tanks, when I got stuff like this, I used to throw them away. I think in World of Warships, I'm going to try to save them. I also have this ship, the USS Arkansas. This was what the beta testers got, so that's why it's called the Arkansas Beta. It's a slightly worse version of the Tier 4 American battleship, the USS Wyoming. This is a Wyoming-class battleship. It's just, you upgrade the Wyoming, and basically the Arkansas Beta is on the stock hull, and the guns are really inaccurate. But it's still a decent ship, and it's way better than what they gave us in World of Tanks. Man, in World of Tanks, the beta tester, like, gift tank was horrible. It was that, I think it was like the M1A3E2 or something. It was really, really bad. Basically, it was a Sherman that was big, fat, worse armor, slow, and a terrible gun. Man, that thing sucked. Like, the Arkansas is not amazing, but at least you can do good work in it. Next, I've got the USS Farragut, Tier 6 destroyer. Not my favorite ship ever, but it is probably going to be the first replay featured on my channel of World of Warships. So we'll look forward to some Farragut action later. Then we have the USS Cleveland, the Tier 6 light cruiser. This thing is... Oh, this thing's not as OP as it used to be in the beta. And we'll talk about that later, I'm sure. Basically, in the closed beta, this thing was redonkulous. I can't believe they didn't nerf it when they went into open beta. But some of the gameplay changes, some of the things they've implemented have taken her down a peg. So the Cleveland's still really, really good, but it's not just the absolute monster that it used to be. It's still good though. This is the USS New Mexico, Tier 6 battleship. This thing is a fun ship. I like it quite a lot. Me and my buddy John, who you may remember from World of Tanks days, Blackjack Pershing, we're basically choosing to focus the American cruiser line and battleship line first. For aircraft carrier, I've got the USS Independence. The Independence class was a class of escort carriers built on the hull of Cleveland-class light cruisers. This thing's meh. Carriers are in a weird spot right now, and the Independence is also in a weird spot right now because of the general kind of issues going on with carriers. But I think this next upcoming patch for World of Warships will take care of a lot of that. This is the USS Sims. This is a Tier 7 American destroyer. I got this from basically the pre-order package. The closed beta was closed, and I didn't get in. And right at the end of it, they put these pre-order packages up, and I bought them. Basically, I bought into the beta. No regrets. Seriously, no regrets. The Sims is an odd duck. She can be really fun, but she's hard to play. And we'll talk about that when we talk about the Farragut, because basically everything the Farragut suffers from, the Sims suffers from it too, except worse. So yeah, they're going to make some changes to the Sims to try to make her better. This bad boy right here, this is the USS Atlanta. She's a light cruiser. She's a Tier 7. And what makes the Atlanta special is look at all her guns. She has 8 gun turrets featuring twin 5-inch 38s. Basically, these are the guns of American destroyers. And this sucker has 16 of them. You can shoot 14 barrels at the enemy with this thing. It's ridiculous. This is the, I don't know what the Russians call them, but this is the Aurora. She's a protected cruiser from right around the turn of the century. The Aurora is a Tier 3 premium cruiser. She's got an interesting history with the Russians. It was pretty cool to look up, but basically, in a nutshell, in-game, this thing plays a lot like the St. Louis class cruiser on the American tech tree, but it's not quite as good in my opinion. But the Aurora, essentially its biggest claim to fame is that it survived the Battle of Tsushima, which if you know anything about that, you know that pretty much nothing Russian that went into that battle got out. So the Aurora is kind of like the lone survivor of the Battle of Tsushima. This is another premium ship from the pre-order packages, the Gremyashki. This is a Tier 5 destroyer. It's really good. It's Russian as all hell. These things, the Russians built quite a few of them. They were pretty modern during World War II. Probably the best destroyer the Soviets had. But if I don't know that much about the Imperial Japanese Navy, I know next to nothing about the Soviet Navy. But if you want to see a cool video about just kind of a basic overview of these destroyers, check out the channel I Chase Gaming. He's got a great World of Warships channel, and he has a lot of historical videos called Know Your Ships. Most of them were made before the game actually was playable, so he's got a lot of them. They're pretty cool. You should totally check them out. I Chase Gaming. He streams on Twitch. He has a great YouTube channel. Like for serious, check him out. I'll put a link in the video description, and it's probably flashing up on screen right now. This right here, this is an IJN premium. This is the Yubari class light cruiser, tier 4. This was another ship from the pre-order package. The pre-order package was the Yubari, the Gremyashki, and the Sims, and you could either get one of them, like one of the three, or you could get all three. I got all three. I wanted the Grem and the Sims. I didn't want the Yubari, but it was cheaper, or it was like $3 more to buy all three, and I got like 20,000 gold instead of like 10,000. So I went with the triple package, even though I didn't want this thing. Basically, this thing is a light cruiser that doesn't have much firepower. Its specialty is at tier 4. It is the best anti-aircraft in the game. It's getting a buff in the upcoming patch as well. So is the Sims. The Grem doesn't need a buff, so it's not getting anything. This is another premium. This is the Ishizuki tier 4 battleship for the Japanese Navy. Basically, this thing is like a prototype. It's like a proto-Congo. This is the Congo. Basically, the Ishizuki is a Congo with 5 turrets instead of 4, no anti-aircraft, and the guns on it are 12-inch instead of 14-inch. It's also not as fast. Basically, it's just a Congo that's worse, but has 2 more guns to kind of compensate for it. But it's a half-decent ship. It's probably the one that I play the least out of any of these premiums. This bad boy right here, tier 5 Japanese destroyer, Minakaze. This thing is amazing. Quite possibly the best destroyer in the game. Tier for tier, it's ridiculous. We will discuss why at a later date, but rest assured, Minakaze is strong. This is the tier 5 Japanese cruiser. It is the Furitaka class. Technically, this is actually a heavy cruiser. It was the Furitaka class was the first class of heavy cruisers made by the Imperial Japanese Navy. It is armed with 8-inch guns at tier 5. That is quite impressive. This ship is universally reviled by most of the player base. I don't see what the big deal is. I think it's fine. I play it. I like it. I think it's really good. Most people hate it. It's got slow rate of fire. It's got slow turning guns, and it doesn't have a lot of armor. I think the biggest thing is you get like culture shock. The tier 4 cruiser you can play in a really YOLO style. This thing you cannot. You have to play this in a very specific style, and if you come from the tier 4 straight to the Furitaka without knowing what's happening, you're going to have a terrible time. This is the mighty Congo, tier 5 battleship, Japanese Navy. This thing is really good. It is a battleship in World of Warships. In history, it was a battle cruiser, a modified Lion class. The Lion is famous for being the flagship of Admiral David Beatty in World War I. Beatty was the commander of the British battlecruiser squadron, and kind of a controversial figure from World War I. Controversial to say the least. But the Congo class was a derivative of the Lion class. Congo herself was built in Britain. The other, I think, 5 ships in the class were built in Japan. And Japan maintained them into World War II and upgraded them substantially into like a fast battleship, but they were never the equal of a more modern battleship, and their combat results demonstrate this. I think every single one of them was lost in action. The battleship Hey, I can't pronounce it, Hiei. Anyway, it's one of the Congo class. No, the battleship Kirishima, one of the Congo class, got into a point-blank night gunfight with the USS South Dakota and the USS Washington, and the South Dakota got taken out immediately, basically. It didn't get sunk, it just got its electrical power knocked out, so it was pretty much out of the fight. And the Washington, from like 4 miles away, just ruined the Kirishima, like not even a contest. I don't even know if the Kirishima really even damaged the Washington back. But anyway, when World War I era battleships got into fights in World War II, almost without exception, terrible things happened to them. The Warspite is like the exception to that rule, and she still got smoked a whole bunch of times. This is my Japanese carrier. I don't know why the camouflage is not rendering on it, because it should have camouflage on it. That's really weird. So yeah, this is my Japanese carrier, Tier 5, Zuiho class. She's a pretty decent little boat in this game. They're nerfing a lot of these mid-tier Jap carriers. They're too strong. But the Zuiho's pretty fun. I've just been prioritizing the U.S. Navy right now, so the Zuiho's been on the back burner. But here she is, Tier 5 carrier, full strike configuration, no wussy fighters for me. We don't need your fighters. And last but not least, definitely not least, the Tier 8 premium Japanese heavy cruiser, the Atago. This thing is a beast. It's armed with 10 8-inch guns, and it has 4 torpedo tubes, forward and aft, on both sides of the ship. This thing is dangerous. The AA on it's not great, but the ship itself is pretty boss. Atago's a pretty fun ship. So, there you go. That's my garage right now, or my port, or whatever you want to call it. My fleet in World of Warships at the moment. Been really having a lot of fun with this game. It's a great game, seriously. If you want to check it out, it is free to play. It is in open beta right now. You can play it for nothing, and you totally should. If you like naval games, like, this is it. If you used to play Battle Stations Midway, this is really similar. If you like World of Tanks and you want to turn it into a giant boat, it's not exactly the same, but it's pretty freaking good. So you should totally check out World of Warships. Anyway, guys, this ended up being 28 minutes long, totally on accident, but I regret nothing, and I apologize not at all. Yeah, if you stuck through to the end of this, props to you. If not, oh well. And I'll have some gameplay coming up in the next video, so stay tuned for that. And until next time, guys, I don't even remember what I used to say. I think it was, you can never have enough big guns, which is definitely true in this game too. And when I say big guns, I mean big freaking guns. So, right, peace.